violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
This morning, the family of Lauren Smith Fields is looking for answers.
I just could not believe that my baby sister was gone. Somebody who I love, somebody who I protected, somebody who I've been around my whole entire life. Like I literally held her when she was born.
According to the Bridgeport, Connecticut police report, on December 12th, authorities found a young adult black female lying on her back that did not appear to be breathing. A man who says he met Lauren on a dating app called the police. That man, who we are not identifying, says he had only known her for 3 days.
All right, guys. So I know you guys have heard about the Lauren Smith Fields situation. I've done several breakdowns on Lauren Smith Fields on my other YouTube channel, Quarantino to God. And I believe I did one on my hashtag Reclaim Your Throne channel, all one word. So you can check those out there. But I did want to sum up this video. And basically, the situation happened. Lauren, she met a white guy on Bumble, okay? You know, she was a sugar baby. She was looking for more sugar daddies. She actually had multiple sugar daddies, and the reason why I know that is because if you look into her Instagram, she's traveling all across the world, and she's only like 22 years old. She went to a community college, and she has a business that isn't making the type of money that would afford her that lifestyle, okay? So she was a sugar baby, and what is happening now is the black community is coming up with all these conspiracy theories about how this guy killed her and this and the third. And there is no evidence to suggest that. Like the report said, he only knew her for 3 days. He met her on Bumble. He actually said that she was asking him to pay for her to get her nails done and all types of stuff. So obviously she was using men to get what she wanted financially. And he probably was not the only one. Okay, but this time she went too far. And I'm going to show you how.
And visited her apartment for the first time the night before, when he claimed she got sick. The morning of December 12th, that man noticed Smith Fields' nose was bleeding and she was not breathing. That's when he called 911. The family says the man is the last known person to see Lauren alive. Police say he's not a suspect or a person of interest.
And imagine how traumatic this is for that man. Because for one, now the black community is saying, oh, this racist guy, he killed Lauren and he did this and that. But imagine this guy meeting this woman on Bumble, you know, actually vibing with her, being very patient with her, because basically what happened was when they met up, she actually went out to meet up with her brother. And was outside for like 30 minutes. She's outside for like 30 minutes. And I don't know if you guys are used to going on dates or Netflix and chill engagements, whatever it is. But dude, if I was at a woman's house and she goes outside and she's outside for 30 minutes, I would have got up and left. You're not playing with my time like that. But he stayed, you know, he was patient. And he was working with her because it appeared that he really liked her and he really found her attractive. So imagine the trauma that this white guy is facing, because he wakes up and there's a dead girl that he, you know, pretty much just had relations with or had some type of relationship with in the bed lying next to him.
And that they do not suspect foul play.
And then on top of that, you have the black community coming at him. They done doxed him. They done put his name out there. They done put his face out there. It's already out there. So I'm going to show you guys at the end of the video. But it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, this guy is completely innocent. But because it's a white guy, people are assuming that he killed her for nefarious reasons and whatnot.
Want all the people of Bridgeport to be treated fairly and equally under the law. That didn't happen here, and everyone listening to the story needs to know that Lauren Smith Fields wasn't given the treatment that she should have been given.
Now, Smithfield's family have taken the initial steps to sue the city of Bridgeport and the police department.
So now they're getting a check because look, the family thought there was some foul play. Understood. Your emotions are in it. You're trying to get some closure on the death of your daughter, and whatnot, your loved one. So the family thought there was some foul play. So they were hitting up the police department, calling every day and doing all this stuff. When the police pretty much did a swift investigation and realized that, hey, man, this was an accident, and this guy who was with her is actually a really good guy, and he is not being deemed a suspect. For a guy to be there and be ruled out as a suspect, it means a lot. In my opinion, it means a lot, because it's not like the police were just like, oh yeah, we want to let him go. No, they interviewed him, they talked to him. He told them what the situation went down, how it went down, and it is what it is. They realized that, hey, this guy didn't kill her, it was just an accident. So they let him go. And the black community was in an uproar. But it's like there are plenty of other women who are actually being killed by super gremlins, and there's no outburst, there's no type of retaliation. It just is what it is.
They allege that the Bridgeport Police Department failed to implement the proper crime scene investigation team to collect physical evidence, and that the city has failed to intervene. Today, on what would have been Lauren's 24th birthday, the family has planned a march and a celebration of life.
We're going to march. We're going to chant her name. We're going to wish her happy birthday. We're going to let balloons go.
The balloons, the marches. When are we going to get a march for a situation that is actually nefarious in nature, okay? Because obviously this was an accident. But, you know, I know they feel some type of way about how the police handled it, so I can definitely understand that. But when you look at it, it was pretty much open and shut case. And that's how they viewed it, because they're professionals and they deal with situations like this all the time, overdoses and whatnot.
They also have a powerful message that they want to share with the world.
Because we don't want this. That it's not just about Lauren. It's about every girl that could potentially go through something like this. We don't ever want this to happen to anybody. I don't want nobody.
So this is about every girl who could get super drunk and super high and die off of alcohol poisoning and drug overdose. Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh.
To feel this pain.
The family says that they believe that race has played a role in the investigation, but the police department says the investigation is ongoing and that they're awaiting a cause of death and toxicology report.
The Connecticut family is planning to sue the Bridgeport Police Department, saying that it failed to properly investigate the mysterious death of a young black woman. 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields was her name. She was found dead in her home while reportedly on a date back in December. The white man, whom she met on the dating app Bumble, reported her dead during their date. Now, he is not facing any charges, so CBS News is not releasing his name.
Now, as you can see, she had an AK-47 tat on her left arm, which, you know, it could mean nothing or it could mean everything. But obviously, Shorty was a turn-up girl, and I'm going to show you guys. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a turn-up girl, but there's a certain lifestyle that you lead by being a turn-up girl, being a sugar baby, you know, being a glorified quasi-prostitute-esque type of young lady. There is a life that you are going to get back, okay? So I want you guys to be very attentive to what they say about her, how they frame this story, because they're trying to make it very much white and black. And I wouldn't be surprised if this guy ends up losing his job. Apparently, he's some type of engineer. But I really would not be surprised if he ended up losing his livelihood over this situation because of the amount of pressure that they're putting on him.
Yesterday, though, would have been Smithfield's 24th birthday. Family, friends, and supporters marched in Bridgeport to celebrate her life and demand answers and justice. Smithfield's family called detectives' handling of the case racially insensitive, and alleged that the college student's civil rights were violated. Elise Preston spoke with the family, which is calling for an outside agency to now handle this investigation. Elise, good morning. This is a very troubling story.
Very heartbreaking, Gail. Good morning. Lauren Smith Fields should be celebrating her 24th birthday this week. Instead, her family is fighting for answers as to how this seemingly healthy young woman reportedly died in her bed.
So she was seemingly healthy in all this, but she was living a very unhealthy lifestyle, dealing with random men with money, having sex with them, exchanging her attention and sex for luxurious trips and gifts, right? Money, getting her nails done, doing all these different things. So she was living a very dangerous lifestyle, not to mention that she was a turn-up queen and she was getting drunk and high often. Okay, the family talking about, oh, she doesn't use drugs and this and a third. How do y'all know? Have y'all ever partied with her? Okay, I don't think so. And then one thing that also stood out to me was that when she was with this white man in the apartment, the brother came by and she chilled with him for 30 minutes. Could her brother, and this is a real question, and I'm not saying that this is true or not, this is just speculation, extrapolation off of the situation at hand. Could her brother be the plug? I mean, seriously, she's out there with bruh for 20, 30 minutes. Might have smoked a blunt or two. Bruh came through, dropped the whatever illegal substances that he dropped off. That could be it. Big bruh could be the plug, and he might have gotten a bad batch. I don't know where she got the drugs from, okay? But that could be something that is plausible.
Family photos and memories are what Lauren Smith Fields' family is holding on to as they wrestle with her unexpected death.
The pain is so unbearable.
Chantel Fields says she drove to her daughter's apartment last month after not hearing from her.
When I got there was a note on the door saying, if you're looking for Lauren, call this number.
The family says a detective told them Smith Fields had been declared dead about a day and a half earlier, and no one reached out to tell them.
All right, so no one reached out to inform them that Lauren had been found dead. And from my understanding, the apartment didn't even have a contact information of Lauren, because for whatever reason, and when you fill out an application for an apartment complex, you usually have to fill out a person, a next of kin that you can call or whatnot. Somebody who, if you're not paying your rent or whatever, they can hit up and try and collect from you. But it doesn't look like she had anybody on file who they could call. So the apartment actually left a note on the door. So I think the police definitely could have done more to reach out to the family, but maybe they were trying. Maybe they couldn't find the number. It's not that easy to just find random people's number, especially if you can't fully identify who she is, where she's from, and her next of kin.
He said that she met some guy on Bumble that night. And I'm like, who's this guy? What's going on? He's like, oh, he sounds like a nice guy. Don't worry about it.
According to an incident report, the date told police the two allegedly spent the night drinking, eating, and watching a movie. At one point, he said Smith Fields went outside to meet someone. Later, she fell ill, but the two continued drinking. Smith Fields.
All right. So she fell ill. Okay. They were eating and drinking, watching a movie. She was probably doing a little bit more than that. Let's keep it a buck.
The two allegedly spent the night drinking, eating, and watching a movie. At one point, he said Smith Fields went outside to meet someone. Later, she fell ill.
So when she went outside to meet someone, that someone was allegedly her brother. And she spent about 30 minutes outside with him. So she might, I don't know what they were doing. They might have smoked a blunt. They might have did something. If I was that white man, I would have left. To me, that's disrespectful that we're having a night together and you go out and spend time with another guy and he doesn't know who that guy is, right? But allegedly it turned out to be her brother. But he doesn't know who that guy is. So it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, we're on a date or we're, Netflix and chilling and you out there for 30 minutes. I'm not waiting that long, me personally.
But the two continued drinking. Smith Fields fell asleep and the date carried her to bed where he went to sleep next to her. Hours later, around 6:30 in the morning, he says he woke up to Smith Fields not breathing.
Wow, so she was not breathing. Her nose was bleeding, and that explains the puddle of blood on the in the bed. Now, we all know that you could get nosebleeds from that yayo, all right? So if you're a habitual user of illicit substances, then your nose will be bleeding.
Her nose bleeding. He called 911. The family says a detective also told them to stop calling him for information. They were told he has since been removed from the case.
Where all do you think the police department misstepped in handling Lauren's death?
When you find a young lady dead and there's a male involved, is immediately a person of interest, and they should immediately collect that person's DNA.
The incident report shows police collected.
And look, I agree. Police collected money, passport, credit card, and a phone.
Money in Smith Fields' passport, credit card, and phone, but the family's attorney, Darnell Crossland, stresses possible key evidence like bloodied sheets and drinks was not processed at the scene until 2.5 weeks later.
And now that's definitely a mistake by the police department. You got to process a crime scene. You got to do your due diligence, even if you feel like the case is clear cut. And, a lot of these investigators, they have a lot more to deal with. So maybe if the investigator felt like, hey, from doing this for the amount of years that I've done it, I know what this is. Or assume I know what this is. Maybe he didn't spend as much attention to this situation as he should have. And that's a bummer, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the family had to go and try and pick up the pieces behind them. So, yeah, cool. I mean, they should do the lawsuit, get a settlement, whatever. I'm fine with that.
At the scene, we find a pill, we find a condom with semen in it.
In a statement to CBS News, Bridgeport Police Act.
Okay, so they find a pill, they find a condom with semen in it. For one, how do you know that pill didn't come from Lauren? All right, like I said, we don't know. Big bro might be the plug. Who knows? I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying we don't know. Second, they should have processed the condom, looked for the condom, whatever, figured out whose DNA was in the condom. But you can't assume that it was that guy's condom. Because, as I stated before, Lauren was a sugar baby. And she was dealing with multiple men. It doesn't mean that she deserved to lose her life. But she was dealing with multiple men. So it is not illogical to think that, hey, this condom may not actually have the DNA of this guy.
Acting Chief Rebecca Garcia says there are elements of misinformation being reposted, adding they will release a final comprehensive report at the end of their investigation.
People know that black women, black girls have been going missing and haven't gotten any attention, and I think is at a boiling point. We're just asking for process.
So these black women and these black girls who are going missing and all this kind of stuff, most of the time they're killed by black men. Okay? That's the reality. All right? Most of the time, they're killed by black men. Now, in this situation, it's a little different. But there were no indicators of foul play to the officers, to the responding officers. So, it looks like she just went too hard that night.
That's it. Treat these cases like you would treat any others.
To lose Lauren in this way, how does that make you feel?
A part of my soul died. I would never.
And look, I feel bad for the family, truly, but it looks like they really didn't know what type of activity she was up to. And it's sad. You never know with your kids, you know what I'm saying?
Never be the same again. I don't even know how to even move from the next day to the next minute. I'm literally dead inside.
Now, the medical examiner's office tells CBS News an autopsy report should be complete in about a week. The family has paid out of pocket for an independent autopsy as well.
Lisa, I see why the family has so many questions. You know, black or white, a man is found with your daughter and just says, she just fell asleep and I woke up and she was dead. And the police say, oh, he's a nice guy. Oh, that makes no sense to me.
It's so.
Maybe he actually was a nice guy. Did you ever figure that? Did you ever figure that he was actually a nice guy? I mean, aren't we innocent until proven guilty in this country? If there was real evidence that there was any foul play, that he did it, then I guarantee that they would have made an arrest. But the thing is, once he realized that she was passed away, he called the police. So if he killed her, why would he tell on himself? Be there at the scene of the crime? And all sorts of things. Like, we all know that a super gremlin wouldn't have did that. You think if a super gremlin, even if he didn't kill the woman, he would have left her there dead. He wouldn't even call the police. Her body would have been found the day that the mom came knocking. That's what would have happened if it was a super gremlin in this case. This dude, this white dude, he actually called the police. So obviously he didn't do it.
So heartbreaking. And for them to not know, the mom said that she hadn't heard from her daughter. She goes to the door there's a note. If you're looking for Lauren, call this number.
And the number was to the police department.
Yeah.
There was no effort to find the family or track down the family.
According to the family, that they did not hear from the police. They also said that they waited outside the house for 5 hours for police to arrive, and they never showed up.
It's devastating.
It is devastating.
That's wild, though. That's definitely wild. I mean, get your money, get your bag. You know what I mean? It'll never replace the life. And I definitely empathize from that aspect. But, whew, man.
Hope they get the answers that they need, at least.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you. Sorry
Definitely.
these
Glad to have you at the
circumstances.
studio.
Nice to have you at the table.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. So this is the white man who she was found with. The guy who called the police. And, you know, it's like, dang, Shorty was really out here doing her little sugar baby thing. Okay? And there's a lot of women who are going into this lifestyle. What I would just say is, hey, be cautious. Understand that there is a dangerous aspect to it. There is a luxurious aspect to it as well. But this guy, from all that I've looked at, he is completely innocent. He is exonerated from being charged or anything of that nature. You know, just a solid guy, interested in chocolate women, and ended up having a wild, crazy experience with a sister who, quite frankly, might have just been doing the most that night. And what I do want to make a point of is that when these women are doing the sugar baby thing and they doing they thug dizzle and they're dealing with men who are a lot older and they may not find, you know, particularly attractive, they do drugs in order to stomach having intercourse with these guys. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't find this man attractive, okay? Because I think that she probably did find this guy attractive. But a lot of times these women, because they're living the fast life and they're dealing with so many men, they have to be numb to these encounters. They have to be intoxicated during these meetups because they may not be particularly attracted, so they have to, find a way to be attracted. And a lot of times the alcohol makes it easier for them to cope with these types of things. But anyways, I did want to make that point, and now we're going to look at her Instagram for a deeper dive, and I'm just going to show you the evidence that I have that shows that she was, in fact, a sugar baby. All right, so we are on Lauren Smithfield's Instagram page. Obviously, she was doing her thing. Very attractive, very sexy chick. But I wanted to show you guys one of the keys into understanding the lifestyle that she lived. So, her traveling. She's in London, Rome, Jamaica, Hawaii, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. All these different destinations. She's lived so many lives. Okay? All of these different destinations. What is she, like 21, 22? Something like that. Very young girl. But she's been to like more countries than most people have in their lives. Now, these trips are not expensive, are not cheap. It's not cheap to go to London, Rome, Jamaica, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all within the span of 2-3 years. Once she hopped off the porch and left her mama crib. Now, this Jamaica trip, this one really stood out to me because it shows you just the amount of money that they were spending on these trips. And what I would say, to get down there, to get to Jamaica, just to plane tickets and transportation and hotel, that's at least $1,500, $2,000, maybe even $2,500 minimum. But let's see the types of activities that they were doing in Jamaica. And that's all we're going to focus on is Jamaica, because that is where the main evidence comes from. All right. So she's doing a lot. But this is what sticks out to me. Look at these tickets. Look at these receipts. This is just dinner. One $2,500 receipt. Another $2,500 receipt. Okay. Another $2,100 receipt. Another $2,200 receipt. So they were eating good and spending a lot of cash. This shows me that she probably was dealing with a sugar daddy who was willing to spend that on her. And she's obviously flexing it, okay? So take what you want from that. It doesn't mean that she deserved to pass away, but it kind of gives you an insight onto the type of life that she was living, okay? Now, finally, we have the toxicology report for Lauren Smith Fields, all right? And it's not looking good. So here we go. We're going to read this article, then we're going to get up out of here. The family of a black woman who was found dead last month in her Bridgeport apartment has accused city police of showing a lack of responsiveness and racial insensitivity in their handling of the investigation. Lauren Smith Fields, 23, died after a man she had met recently online called police on December 12th to say he awoke to Smith Fields unresponsive. Smith Fields' family said police never notified them of her death, which they learned about more than a day later through a note left on her apartment door by her landlord. The office of the chief state medical examiner on Tuesday said Smith Fields' death was caused by acute intoxication due to the combined effects of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. Okay, let's run that back. Fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. The death was ruled accidental. Okay? So, looks just like open and shut case, drug overdose. But of course, we're going to hear so much more out of the black community saying, or the community, saying that, oh, it's a conspiracy, the white man did it, da-da-da-da-da, whatever. But obviously, she was living a certain type of life. I showed you how she was turning up on Instagram. So she obviously was, consuming a lot of alcohol, which it is what it is. I don't judge. I'm not a big drinker, but I don't judge. And it looks like she was mixing other drugs, and that was the cause of her untimely demise. So all in all, RIP Lauren Smith Fields. She definitely didn't deserve to go out this way, but you got to be careful when you're mixing these substances, man. And it's unfortunate that it happened in this way. But it's time to hush the conspiracy theories.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.